So you had offsetting technicals during the timeout. As the Warriors were going to the bench, Morant had some form of gesture there. You can make that what you want.
Morant is facing potential NBA discipline after making a controversial finger gun celebration during Thursday's game against the Miami Heat, hours after being warned by the league to stop the gesture. This could impact both his season and the Grizzlies' playoff hopes. The problem started when Morant made a finger gun gesture to tease the Golden State Warriors players on Tuesday. Because of his past issues with guns, the NBA started investigating. On Thursday, the NBA warned both Morant and Buddy Hield, saying the gestures weren't violent but still inappropriate and shouldn't happen again. As the NBA said, the gestures were not intended to be violent in nature, but were inappropriate and should not be repeated.
And Morant in another jam. So we've had the gun issue with Morant. He went viral, actual guns with him before. Now league officials are looking into Morant and Buddy Hield after Tuesday night's game.
In a stunning display of defiance, Morant ignored the warning and repeated the same finger gun celebration during Thursday night's game against the Heat after hitting a game-winning shot at Miami's Kaseya Center. This brazen decision to continue the gesture despite the league's explicit directive puts Morant in an extremely precarious position with NBA officials who have already demonstrated low tolerance for his gun-related antics. This latest controversy couldn't come at a worse time for Morant and the Grizzlies, who currently sit in the 8th spot in the hyper-competitive Western Conference. With the play-in tournament looming, any suspension could devastate Memphis's chances of advancing in the postseason. The timing is particularly problematic, given that Morant was just recently finding his rhythm after returning from a 25-game suspension that sidelined him for the first third of the 2023-24 season. What makes this situation concerning is Morant's troubling history with gun-related incidents. The high-flying guard has already been suspended twice by the league, specifically for showing actual handguns on social media. His first suspension came in March 2023, when he was banned for 8 games without pay after brandishing a firearm during an Instagram live video at a Colorado nightclub. That incident alone should have been a wake-up call. But Morant found himself in hot water again later that year when another video surfaced of him posing with what appeared to be a weapon while in a car, resulting in a much harsher 25-game suspension to begin the following season. At the time of that second suspension, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver didn't mince words about the seriousness of the situation. Morant's decision to once again wield a firearm on social media is alarming and disconcerting, given his similar conduct in March for which he was already suspended 8 games, Silver said. The potential for other young people to emulate Ja's conduct is particularly concerning. Under these circumstances, we believe a suspension of 25 games is appropriate and makes clear that engaging in reckless and irresponsible behavior with guns will not be tolerated. The commissioner's mention of young fans potentially emulating Morant's behavior highlights why the NBA takes these issues so seriously. As one of the league's most electrifying young stars with millions of followers on social media, Morant's actions carry significant influence. His finger gun celebration, while not involving an actual weapon, continues to associate him with gun imagery in a manner that clearly concerns league officials. Let's see what Patrick said.
We've talked about talented, you get the opportunity, you make a lot of money, you can be the face of a franchise, your coach just got fired, you're heading into the playoffs, and we're still doing stupid things.
This wasn't Morant's only brush with controversy involving firearms. In January 2023, he faced scrutiny after an unidentified individual in his vehicle was accused of shining a laser pointer at the Indiana Pacers team bus following an altercation between members of Morant's entourage and people in the Pacers traveling party. The league now faces a difficult decision regarding potential punishment. While ESPN reports that the initial warning was not expected to result in a fine or suspension, Morant's decision to repeat the gesture after being explicitly warned changes the calculation entirely. The NBA must now determine whether this defiance warrants disciplinary action, and if so, how severe it should be given Morant's history of similar infractions.
You are a cop, I'll go to you. What do you think?
Because of his past discrepancies, he should not be doing that. However, it's a gesture that a lot of people do. Does he know better? Yes, but I'm not going to go into it. He's this, he's that. Listen, Buddy Hield did it. A lot of other people do it. I see people at AAU games do it. It's just one of those NBA ebonic gestures. So it's just a gesture that we sometimes use. But because of his past discrepancies, he should not be doing that. Because my question is, if he didn't have those two incidents and he did that, would we be talking about it? The answer is no, we would not be talking about it.
It is something.
For the Grizzlies, this situation creates unwelcome uncertainty at a crucial moment in their season. After working to integrate Morant back into the lineup following his extended absence, they fought their way into play-in tournament position. Any suspension could derail their postseason aspirations and waste what's already been a challenging campaign. More broadly, this incident raises questions about Morant's judgment and maturity. Despite the serious consequences he's already faced for gun-related behavior, missing a total of 33 games without pay over 2 suspensions, costing him millions in salary and potentially much more in endorsement opportunities, he appears unable or unwilling to distance himself from gestures that evoke firearms. This pattern of behavior has already damaged his reputation and marketability, with some sponsors previously distancing themselves following his earlier suspensions. Morant's basketball talent has never been in question. The 2020 Rookie of the Year and 2-time All-Star has established himself as one of the NBA's most dynamic players, known for his explosive athleticism and playmaking ability. However, his off-court decisions and on-court gestures continue to overshadow his basketball brilliance, creating a frustrating pattern that has prevented him from fully realizing his potential as one of the league's premier ambassadors.
That's a tough one, huh? That's a tough one. I probably know your take on it, and understanding that based on your history and what you've done in the past, or what the situations that have occurred in the past, is something that you shouldn't do. I think in the heat of the moment, with Buddy Hield doing it first and him just, emulating what Buddy did to him, I understand probably how it's seen. Oh, you should know better based on what you've done in the past, but I think it's in this situation is harmless if you've already learned your lesson, and just answering back to Buddy Hield in the same manner in which he directed it at you.
As the NBA deliberates its response to this latest incident, basketball fans and analysts alike are left wondering what could possibly motivate Morant to risk further discipline when he's already been punished so severely for similar behavior in the past. Whether this represents a deliberate act of defiance, a misguided attempt at establishing an on-court persona, or simply a moment of poor judgment in the emotion of hitting a game winner, the consequences could be substantial. The Grizzlies organization now holds its collective breath, waiting to see if their star player's actions will once again cost him, and by extension them, valuable time on the court when they need him most. With the play-in tournament approaching and every game critical to their playoff positioning, Memphis finds itself in the unenviable position of having their fate tied to the league's disciplinary decisions rather than their performance on the court. What do you think about Ja Morant's decision to continue using the finger gun gesture despite the NBA's warning? Should the league issue a more severe punishment given his history, or is a finger gesture fundamentally different from his previous incidents involving real firearms? And what does this pattern of behavior say about Morant's future in the league if he cannot distance himself from gun-related controversies? The answers to these questions could define not just the remainder of this season for Morant and the Grizzlies, but potentially the trajectory of what once seemed like a surefire Hall of Fame career. Anthony Davis delivered a stellar performance for the Dallas Mavericks on April 3, 2025, leading them to a 120-118 victory over the Atlanta Hawks. His dominant showing included 34 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks, culminating in a game-winning shot with just 3.4 seconds remaining on the clock. This performance represents his highest scoring output since joining the Mavericks and showcases his ability to lead the team despite recent challenges.
D is going to visit with Skin. Skin, take it away.
All right, thank you, Follow. Anthony, there's a bunch of things I could talk to you about right now. Why don't we start with the game winner that you hit? Give me a little bit of that.
Coach Kidd drew up a great play for me to get to my left hand, which I like to get to. And that little floater. I've been struggling as of late. Little mental stuff, going on. But today I just wanted to come out and play free and just let the rest take care of itself. And I was able to get in the rhythm. But my teammates got a lot of trust in me. I put in enough work to be able to get that shot at the end of the game. They had to get a stop on one of the best guards in the league, one of the best scorers in the league. So
the victory holds significant implications for the Mavericks' postseason aspirations. Dallas currently occupies the 9th position in the Western Conference with a 38-39 record. This win places them 1.5 games ahead of the 10th place Sacramento Kings and extends their advantage to 2.5 games over the 11th place Phoenix Suns, who have lost 4 consecutive games. The Mavericks' position in the play-in tournament appears increasingly secure, though their path to the playoffs remains challenging. As the 9th seed, Dallas would host the first play-in game, a notable advantage as they pursue postseason contention despite a season marked by injuries and roster changes. Davis's performance becomes even more remarkable considering the adversity he faced during the game. Late in the first quarter, while battling for a loose ball beneath the Mavericks' basket, Davis received an accidental elbow from teammate Daniel Gafford. The collision left Davis bleeding near his right eye, forcing him to exit the game for medical attention. The injury appeared potentially serious as Davis headed to the locker room. However, he returned to action with approximately 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter, sporting a substantial bandage over his injured eye. Despite this setback, Davis showed remarkable resilience, continuing to dominate the game on both ends of the floor. The Mavericks' victory required overcoming significant obstacles throughout the contest. Dallas faced an 11-point deficit in the third quarter before mounting a comeback. The fourth quarter featured a tense back-and-forth battle, with neither team able to establish a commanding lead. With 1 minute and 46 seconds remaining in regulation, the Hawks held a 118-115 advantage, placing the Mavericks in a precarious position. Klay Thompson responded with a crucial three-pointer, tying the game and setting the stage for the dramatic conclusion. On the ensuing Hawks possession, Davis demonstrated his defensive prowess, blocking Trae Young's layup attempt and returning possession to Dallas. This defensive stand proved instrumental in positioning the Mavericks for their final offensive opportunity. In the closing seconds, Davis received the inbound pass with under 8 seconds remaining. He dribbled left, gaining a step on Atlanta's Onyeka Okongwu. Unable to reach the rim due to Okongwu's defensive positioning, Davis executed a difficult floater while falling to his left. The shot found its mark, giving Dallas a 120-118 lead with just 3.4 seconds on the clock. On the game's final possession, Davis shadowed Young defensively, forcing the Hawks' star into a contested 26-foot three-point attempt that fell short. This sequence completed Davis's two-way impact on the game's outcome. Davis's final statistics underline his comprehensive impact: 34 points on efficient 14 of 23 shooting, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks, 2 assists, and 1 steal. This performance represents his highest scoring output since joining the Mavericks and demonstrates his ability to affect the game in multiple facets. The statistical achievement holds historical significance. Davis became the only player in Mavericks franchise history to record at least 30 points, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 2 three-pointers in a single game, according to StatMuse. He joins teammate Daniel Gafford as the only players in franchise history to record a game with at least 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks. "We go as he goes. He's obviously our best player," Thompson said of Davis, acknowledging his central importance to the team's success. Davis expressed confidence in his game-winning shot, stating, "A shot that I've been shooting for a long time. It's a shot I'm very confident in." The performance generated significant attention, including from Davis' former teammate LeBron James. Following the game, James posted a supportive message on Instagram, writing "Game Blouses," accompanied by an eyebrow emoji. The reaction demonstrates the ongoing respect between the former teammates despite now competing on different teams. James watched the game during a 2-day break in the Lakers' schedule, immediately recognizing the significance of Davis's performance. The supportive message highlights the bond formed during their 5.5 seasons as teammates in Los Angeles, a partnership that yielded the 2020 NBA championship during the pandemic-shortened season. Even though Davis and James are no longer teammates, it remains all love. Davis joined the Mavericks through what many describe as a controversial trade, sending Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. The transaction has been characterized as arguably the most controversial trade in NBA history, and triggered a torrent of criticism, both from fans and the media, against Dallas and general manager Nico Harrison. Davis made his Mavericks debut on February 8th, delivering an impressive 26 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists. However, he suffered a left adductor strain in that game, sidelining him for more than a month. Wednesday's performance marked just his 6th game in a Mavericks uniform, with the team now holding a 5-1 record when Davis appears. Since returning from injury on March 24th, Davis has averaged 18.2 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 3.4 assists in approximately 29 minutes per game. Before Wednesday's breakout performance, he hadn't scored more than 18 points in any game since his return, making this showing particularly significant. While Davis led the way, several other players made notable contributions for both teams. For the Mavericks, Klay Thompson provided 17 points, including the crucial three-pointer that tied the game in the final minutes. Spencer Dinwiddie continued his emergence as Dallas's primary playmaker in Kyrie Irving's absence, recording 14 points and 10 assists. This marked Dinwiddie's 4th double-digit assist game since Irving's season-ending knee injury on March 3rd. The Mavericks also welcomed back center Derek Lively II, who had been sidelined since January 14th with an ankle stress fracture. Lively contributed 4 points and 5 rebounds in 16 minutes, providing valuable front-court depth. For the Hawks, Trae Young led the offensive attack with 25 points and 12 assists, while Onyeka Okongwu added 20 points and 14 rebounds. Despite their strong individual performances, the Hawks were unable to secure the victory, falling to 8th place in the Eastern Conference standings. Several statistical factors influenced the game's outcome. Despite attempting 14 fewer field goals than the Hawks, the Mavericks shot at a significantly higher percentage. Dallas converted 53.0% of their attempts, 44 of 83, while Atlanta managed just 43.3%, 42 of 97. This efficiency disparity proved decisive in the narrow victory. The game featured notable historical context regarding Young's performance against Dallas. His 21.2 scoring average across 13 career games versus the Mavericks represents his lowest against any NBA opponent. This statistical anomaly adds another layer of significance to the matchup, particularly given Young's connection to the franchise that drafted him in 2018 before trading him to Atlanta for Doncic. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on upcoming content.